And who doesn't like to laugh? And I'm going to try to get to the next interview without laughing. Our guest is the incomparable Scott Silverman. TheScottSilverman.com.
That's me.
So ScottSilverman.com was taken?
Totally taken by some scientist in San Diego.
And that's not you?
Not a bit.
Yeah. So what is it like living in Los Angeles? You know, we talked before we started that people think you're from San Francisco, but you're a Southern guy.
I'm a Southern guy. I moved here to start stand-up comedy because I wanted to get as far away from show business to start show business as I could.
Yeah.
I was thinking.
Yeah. And I mean, you know, confession for our viewing audience, that's when we met. You came here from Los Angeles, and I think it was in the then Pasqua, not even Starbucks, in Castro.
Oh my God.
You must have been 8, and I was like, I don't know, 12 or something. I don't know. What is it like to carry the burden of being one of the first openly gay performers ever on TV?
Well, I don't think of it as a burden. I do think it might have slowed down my career a little bit because of that whole, you know, oh, we can't play straight, which is fine. I don't want to play straight. I'm a comic. But no, it's great. I'm glad that I got to be one of the first through. I didn't mean to be, but it worked.
Yeah.
And I love it because it does set me apart, and I am very proud of who I am, and I would never want to hide any of it.
Right. Now, tell us about that, and we're going to talk about your whole career, but about you being on TV, because that was a kind of brief shining moment, as it were, correct? That first TV appearance.
Yes, because it was like I did a bunch of TV shows, but I was another stand-up comic on Evening at the Improv and Comedy on the Road, but Out There Too was one of the first gay-only specials on Comedy Central on cable. On cable.
And that was in the 90s, correct?
It was in 1994.
Right.
So the same year as Stonewall, or it was the Stonewall anniversary. It was a big anniversary. I think it was the 25th.
Yeah, yeah.
So it was done in conjunction with that.
And were the people around the set kind of teasing you? I mean, did homophobia exist then?
Oh, of course it existed, but since it's Hollywood, which is very gay, it just isn't openly gay. There was no problem with homophobia, not a bit. I mean, when I perform live in different parts of the country, then there's huge problems with it.
Like where? Like what's the worst gig you've ever done?
Oh, actually, strangely enough, it was in Martinez, California, about 15, 20 years ago, long time. But it wasn't because I was gay, it was because I was Jewish. And I got heckled and, yelled at for being Jewish. But I was hard of hearing, so I wasn't sure what they were talking about.
So what did you do? Did you say, excuse me, are you trying to
Well, I
offend me?
thought they called me, the guy called me a kike, which is a really rude word
Awful.
for Jew.
Yeah.
And I thought he said dyke. And I was like, what? Grandpa can't hear. And then I said something inappropriate about what he does with the sheep at his farm out there. And then I ran for my life.
So it was like a getting off stage quick.
It was getting off stage. Literally, I was with a friend and we ran to the car and there were people running after us. And if it wasn't for the fact that gun racks slow down the aerodynamics on pickup trucks, they would have caught me. But I outdrove them and got back down here.
And what about the best place? What is the best place for Scott Silverman to do a show?
Oh, San Francisco. Oh, God. I love LA, but San Francisco, because you can do jokes that people just get. You can make literary references, and people don't think that you're a weirdo. So it's definitely San Francisco.
So what would be a literary reference in LA that they would get?
I don't know. Something that's in a script. Are scripts considered literature now?
I don't know.
Because that would be it. Or a book, maybe before it was based on a script.
Yeah. But now, before you even did, or after you did the comic stuff on TV, you had another fellow comic that was a good friend, Margaret Cho, and you were on her TV show.
I was never on her TV show.
You were never on the TV show. That's
not
my
All
mistake.
American Girl. No, I was on several comedy shows with her.
That's it.
So I was on Girls' Night Out as the boy.
And what is she like?
She's very normal, actually. Oh, I probably shouldn't mention that. She's weird. She's very alternative. She's crazy. She's a very cool lady.
Yeah.
She's a very cool lady. She's a nice girl and a nice friend.
Do you still get branded as the gay comic now?
Yes, definitely.
How does that make you feel?
I mean, I am a gay comic. I don't want to be branded as that, but at the same time, it is what I am. I don't want it to stop me from getting work. That's the thing, is when they say, oh, you're a gay comic, that makes it a gay show.
And you said when you first started doing TV that being openly gay held back your career. Do you really think that?
Yes, I do. Because they're just, and even the gay people are just reticent about booking openly gay acts. I mean, the whole thing about the actors, oh, well, they're not going to be believable as a romantic lead. I don't know. I believe it. I was totally bought that guy from Spring Awakening was Rachel's boyfriend on Glee. I was like, he's gay? Oh my God, wow. So I think if you're a good actor, I just didn't want to only be the gay stand-up comic. I didn't want that to preclude me from being on just a normal show with everybody else. And luckily, San Francisco recognized that. I mean, I was doing the Punchline, Cobb's, all of the straight clubs, and I was just another comic, and I had to prove myself by being funny. Like, I could ride my little gay gimmick, but I still had to make the audience laugh, which I proved I could do.
Yeah, well, obviously, and I've seen your show. Do you think it is harder to make a gay audience laugh?
Yes.
I mean, they're like, okay.
Bring it on, Queen. Yeah, I think they're a little more discerning. You can't just do, jokes and, fart jokes. You can't do that. You got to really bring it smart, and that's why I love, and even, the straight people are kind of gay in San Francisco, so they've got to, they want to hear something good. They don't just want to hear the tacky stuff.
Who do you like to go watch? I mean, like, I know, you confessed in the green room that you're actually gardening now. I mean, you're a respectable married man. It's really frightening. But do you ever go out to see another stand-up comic? I
go out to see stand-up all the time because it's part of my job. My favorite stand-up right now is a gentleman named Jim Short. He is from San Francisco. Well, he's from Texas. Well, actually, he's from Australia. But he is a former San Francisco comic who's moved to Los Angeles, and he's brilliant. He's so funny. And Dan Gabriel, all kinds of good stand-ups came out of here. Aisha Tyler is from here, who I perform with. So there's a lot of good stand-ups, but they're kind of from here, and I don't want to be all clubby, and San Francisco comics are best, but we are.
Do you think San Francisco still has the reputation of being a comic town?
Yes, I think it does.
I mean, it seemed to kind of die there for a while.
It's died everywhere. It's, comedy got worn out. You could do comedy anywhere, and people did. I've done comedy probably in every room in San Francisco. I've done comedy in people's living rooms. I mean, seriously, like gigs in people's living rooms, because you can do comedy everywhere. So it got saturated.
And is that because, so now you can get it on TV, you can get it on cable, people thought, I don't need to go to
You can get it on YouTube. That's the best thing.
Yeah, and some of them aren't even professional comics.
Exactly, and they just post themselves and they can go viral. But it's also a great promotional tool because, people are like, I'd love to see you do stand-up. Boom, here's my website. Watch those videos.
Here's a philosophical question. How important was Ellen's coming out to every gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender comic?
I think it's very important because somebody of her stature, somebody who technically could have something to lose, I think if everybody came out, then nobody would lose. But I think it was very important. I think what she did was great. I think it took a really long time, and she probably mulled it over for many years, actually, because it is... Like, straight comics don't have to come out and people sexualize you, and you don't want to be only your sexuality.
Right.
So especially when you're trying to be funny.
I mean, how has your show changed over the years?
Well, I think I'm not a little less gay, but my material was about, being gay. And now that being gay is more mainstream, I don't have to talk about it as much. And, it was fascinating when I first came out to me. I'm like, I'm gay, yay! And my parents love me. And now I just, I'm gay, I'm married, so we have the same issues as, a lot of married couples have, so I can talk about that. We have a house, the American dream.
This means you're in debt for the rest of your life.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, this is a dream. We had to spend $300 to get rid of bees. Yeah. So it's... I don't know about that being a dream, but you just mature differently, and it becomes less of who you are. And I wouldn't want it to be the only thing that I would do, because that would be boring.
Who do you think is, I'll use this word advisedly, a bad comic?
A bad comic?
I don't mean in talent-wise, but someone who you think, that's an unfair representation of being gay. That's over the line. We talked about some people, back in the green room that I think, wow, are they really that crazy? Is that an act, or are they really racist, homophobic, and misogynist?
I think you can't really tell who is their act and who is not their act. Like Lisa Lampanelli seems like she'd be, the worst, horriblest racist, but I know one of her writers. So she
doesn't write that stuff?
She writes some of it, I'm sure, but she's got writers. So, and he, I think, might be a racist homophobe, but, actually, he might just be a racist. He's not very homophobic.
And what about Kathy Griffin? How much of that is her? And you've met Kathy.
I think that a lot of that is her. Yeah, I know Kathy. A lot of that is her. She's, she likes to make fun of people, which is fine. I mean, people are in show business to be made fun of. If you can't be made fun of in show business, then you shouldn't be in show business. I don't watch her too much. I don't get that channel.
Yeah.
So, And the whole pop culture thing, that's why I moved away from LA, was to get away from that. I don't care what the Kardashians are doing. I really don't. But that's what LA is. So she's obsessed with them.
You talked about YouTube, and it is a different era of presenting comedy or any kind of live performance. How has that affected you? Is it easier to get a gig now with
It's easier. It's easier because somebody's interested in seeing you. I mean, you may remember me walking a VHS tape to a mailbox, mailing it, and they would have to watch it. Now, bang, they can watch me. And booked, bang. You can do things by computers are so amazing. I mean, I have a hard time with mine because I'm technologically
challenged. Me
but
too.
I love it. I love Facebook. I love Twitter. I love all those things.
Yeah, I mean, now we got reconnected on Facebook after years. So you're obsessed with Facebook now. Why?
Because it is, for me, it's a way for people to get to know me and get to know my interests. Because you do post things that are interesting to you. You should comment on it instead of just saying sultry, and putting up a
And that's
video.
you. That's not your team of writers, right?
No, I do not have a team of writers. Although if I did, it would be my friend Dan and Tony. They write me better than I write myself. So, but yeah, no, it's all me, and it's a lot of stuff about ships and cars and geek, girls. I'm obsessed with Kate Middleton, although I'm trying not to be.
Now, you're really buying into the stereotype. Although I'm going to be up at 3 a.m. watching it too. I mean, how can you not?
Oh yeah, I watched the first one. And I'm really trying not to.
You weren't old enough, Scott. You just did it.
I was 12 or 13, and I watched that wedding, and my mom was like,
She knew.
Oh, she knew.
Is Scott gay or just Jewish?
She's like, he is so gay.
Now, ships, all that kind of stuff. Have you ever gigged on a ship?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
What's that like?
I love ships. I love ships. I've done an Atlantis cruise, which is the gay cruise line. So much fun. And in Los Angeles, the Queen Mary ocean liner is docked there. And
at Long Beach.
Yeah, and there was a comedy club on it for a
Get
while.
out.
And they're like, okay, we know you're on a ship. Do you have anything to say about it? I did a half an hour on the Queen Mary off the top of my head.
And they loved it.
Yeah, they loved it. They're like, "Is that your whole act?" I'm like, "No, I'm obsessed with this ship."
Now, was it just an LA kind of audience, or was it a Queens on the Queen audience?
It was just an LA audience. It wasn't a gay audience. People don't get how gay the Queen Mary is. First of all, it's called
the Queen Mary.
It's the gayest ship of all.
Yeah.
But it's just a tourist attraction, especially after Titanic. People, were storming that ship.
Yeah. In our last few moments, tell me a gig you'd like to have. Who would you like to perform for?
I'd love to open for Madonna.
Seriously?
Might as well shoot the moon, you know. I just think she's amazing, and she's been such an influence in my life that, although I don't know what I'd be doing before a concert, but...
Have you met Madonna?
No. I don't think I'd want to.
Who's someone that you met that really you went, wow, God, I'm impressed or scared or...
Mariah Carey.
Really?
Yeah. She's really nice. Why? Because she sat on my lap, to be funny. And I was like...
Wow. And I mean, she's a small person. In proportion.
To me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anybody is because I'm kind of giant. But she was really nice. I was sitting with somebody and she just plopped it, hi, and I was like, oh, my God, you're just like Honey. She's so sweet, and I said something probably inappropriate. She jumped off my lap. Yeah.
Real quick in our last few moments, for the rest of the summer, where are some places we can find Scott Silverman around the world?
I will be up in Northern California. I'm going to do a benefit in Sonoma County with Judy Tenuta on June 17th.
Right in the Russian River. So all of my Russian River viewers can watch us there.
Exactly.
We've been speaking with the very funny Scott Silverman, thescottsilverman.com. Next up, we'll speak with poet Brian Tier. We'll be right back.